Well, history can't be wrong, you know.
Welcome, nerds, to another History in 5 Minutes, where we tell you all about the good stuff you may not have known about your favorite video games and their developers. With the recent release of The Last of Us 2, we thought it'd be a great idea to talk about Naughty Dog themselves. It all starts off with high school students Jason, Ruben, and Andy Gavin having experimented with Lisp and C++, teamed up to create video games and founded Jam Software, which stood for Jason and Andy's Magic Software, in 1984. Ruben and Gavin chose to create a software for the Apple II and decided to create a skiing game for their second title. During production of the game, Gavin accidentally copied bootleg games over the only copy of the skiing game they had. Ruben then created a new skiing game called Ski Crate, originally titled Ski Stunt, within the weekend. Because the game played slower, Gavin reprogrammed the game to play quicker. The game was later picked up and published by Vaudeville, which bought the game from Jam Software for $250. Ruben and Gavin created an Apple II GS graphic game called Dream Zone, which was released in 1988 and imported to the Atari ST, Amiga, and personal computer. In 1989, Ruben and Gavin released a game titled Keef the Thief, which was published by Electronic Arts for the Apple II GS, Amiga, and IBM PC compatible. To make a fresh start and dissolve the relationship with Vaudeville, Ruben and Gavin renamed Jam Software as Naughty Dog on September 9, 1989. Naughty Dog also created and developed Rings of Power, which was published by Electronic Arts for the Sega Genesis in 1991. In 1994, Ruben and Gavin produced a 3DO interactive multiplayer titled Way of the Warrior and presented to Mark Kearney of Universal Interactive Studios. Kearney was pleased with the Way of the Warrior and signed Naughty Dog onto Universal Interactive Studios for 3 additional games. Ruben and Gavin devised a plan to create a 3-dimensional action platform game. Because the player would be forced to constantly look at the character's rear, the game was jokingly codenamed Sonic's Ass Game. Production of the game began in 1994, during which Naughty Dog expanded its number of employees and invented a developmental tool called Game-Oriented Object Lisp to create characters and gameplay. Cartoonist Charles Zambilis and Joe Pearson were recruited to create characters of the game, which resulted in the titular character Crash Bandicoot.
What have I got?
After 14 months of development, the game was shown to Sony Computer Entertainment, who then signed on to publish the game. Crash Bandicoot was shown to the public for the first time at E3 and went on to become one of the highest selling titles for the PlayStation console, selling over 6.8 million copies. Naughty Dog continued to develop 2 more Crash Bandicoot games, with the spin-off Crash Team Racing Kart Racing game. By then, the studio was looking up to develop games for Sony, not be constrained by Universal Interactive. Since Universal held the rights to Crash Bandicoot series, Naughty Dog could not develop future games in its own right. The studio would be bought out by Sony in 2001 to avoid a repeat while it focused on the development of the first game of the Jak and Daxter series. The Jak and Daxter games met similar success as the Crash Bandicoot games. During the development of Jak 3 and Jak X combat racing games, Ruben and Gavin slowly transitioned Evan Wells and Steve White to become co-presidents of Naughty Dog by the time the founders left the studio. White was replaced by Christophe Balestri after a year. In 2007, Naughty Dog began working on its Uncharted series and made their first approach to realistic worlds and characters. In contrast to their first games, Crash Bandicoot and Jak's Daxter series, which feature fantastical worlds and fantastical settings. The Uncharted franchise has been praised for its cinematic quality and technical proficiency, and has sold nearly 17 million copies worldwide as of April 2012. During the 2011 Spike TV Video Game Awards, Naughty Dog unveiled its new intellectual property, The Last of Us. Described as a post-apocalyptic third-person action-adventure game, following the plight of a teenage girl named Ellie and her adult protector, Joel, in a post-apocalyptic United States overrun with humans infected with a disease remnants of an infection caused by Cordyceps unilaterus. The Last of Us received universal acclaim upon release. In 2012 and 2013, Naughty Dog teamed up with Mass Media Incorporated to release the Jak and Daxter collection. It contains high-definition ports of the original PlayStation 2 trilogy and was released for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita respectively. On November 23, 2013, Corinne Yu, principal engine architect and Microsoft's Halo 4 developer 343 Industries, announced that she had joined Naughty Dog on December 7, 2013, during the first edition of Spike's VXG Awards show. Naughty Dog won the Studio of the Year award for their work on The Last of Us. On March 4, 2014, Uncharted lead writer Amy Hennig left the studio, with Uncharted 3 director Justin Richmond and The Last of Us lead artist Nate Wells leaving soon after. Later, it was revealed that The Last of Us would be released on PlayStation 4 as a remastered version. In March 2017, Balestri announced that he would retire of his role as co-president on April 3, 2017, after working at the company for 15 years. Evan Well remains in his role as president. In September 2017, game director Bruce Starley announced the departure from Naughty Dog, stating that he found energy focused in other directions following the sabbatical. Creative director Neil Druckmann was promoted to vice president in March 2018. In October 2017, former environment artist David Ballard claimed that he suffered a mental breakdown after experiencing sexual harassment by a senior team member while working at Naughty Dog in late 2015, stating that he informed PlayStation's HR department and the following day was terminated from his position and offered $20,000 to remain silent regarding his allegation, which he declined. Naughty Dog responded to the allegations with a statement declaring that it had not found any evidence of having received allegations from Mr. Ballard that he was harassed in any way. Since then, they have released The Last of Us 2. Don't worry, there's no spoilers here. I just love Ellie. Also, Crash Bandicoot 4 just got announced, and even though it isn't made by Naughty Dog, you can still see the legacy that's set in place. Well, gals and gamers, that's all from me. And try not to get any viruses out there, okay?